Get on up.
Everybody right there.
Get into it.
Everybody right there.
Get involved.
Everybody just come on now. Come on now. Come on, come on. Come on with your come on. Come on, come on.
Our guest today is Ekrem Serdar from Squeaky Wheel. Ekrem curated The Shape of a Pocket, which is a show that is ongoing at Squeaky Wheel. We're going to talk about that, as well as the residencies, artist residencies going on, and then share a few thoughts about Buffalo's role in the digital arts universe. So thanks, Ekrem, for being here today.
Sure.
You curated The Shape of a Pocket, an exhibit that is centered on the theme of resistance. Tell us a little bit about that exhibit and a few examples of what's on view and what's going on with that.
Sure. Shape of a Pocket came about in 2016, in the summer of 2016. At the time, I was thinking a lot about John Berger's book, collected essays, which was also titled The Shape of a Pocket. John Berger is recently passed away, sort of a lifelong Marxist and one of the tremendously acute and poetic art critic and writer and novelist and so on. And I've always found his ideas to be extremely evocative, and the phrase "shape of a pocket" to be very evocative. We sent out an open call to the 17 counties or so on of Western New York, and we received many different submissions. And we asked artists to sort of, how can a work of art be a form of resistance? What does it mean for it to be in an institutional sort of art gallery context? What can resistance mean in this context? And we asked artists to sort of think about that. We received a lot of great submissions. We had a jury of myself, Amber Dennis, and John Massier, and we put together some really great artists. We have about 13 artists in the show. This includes everything from installations to people who are doing screenings, as well as performances. For example, some of the work that people can see right now are sort of like PJ Moscow's interactive video game Invaders, where you can use your cell phone to play a video game right outside a Squeaky storefront to sort of just like throw tomatoes at these drones. You will lose very quickly unless there's more than 2 or 3 of you. You need to collaborate together, along all of you with your cell phones, to be able to beat the game, maybe.
Interesting.
There are other works in the show that variously address the sort of symptomatic racism in the United States, as well as other sort of larger topics that are sort of like hovering over us, from everything from state surveillance to just like the sort of threats that our bodies face on a sort of day-to-day basis or can face.
So that is The Shape of a Pocket on view at Squeaky Wheel through basically the end of August. Urge folks to take a look at that. But you've just started a residency project. Artists have just arrived in Buffalo. Tell us what they're up to.
Sure. The Workspace residency is the latest in a long series of Squeaky Wheel's residencies. This is a collaboration between us, Buffalo Game Space, Buffalo Lab at the Foundry, as well as Silo City. And we are currently hosting 6 artists, 1 regional, Caroline Doherty, as well as 500 folks who have arrived from all over, including Rachel Rakes, Leo Goldsmith, Jatavia Gary, Leah Bertucci, as well as Dennis Tortum, who are all here working on a sort of plethora of projects. Leah Bertucci is going to be performing a live new composition at Silo City on August 26th, and she is working on that for the next 3 weeks. Dennis Tortum is working on blockchain, which is the sort of architecture that underlies Bitcoin, and he's looking at alternative currencies, and as well as looking more into his work in virtual reality. Rachel Rakes and Leo Goldsmith are working on their book on Peter Watkins, who is the sort of groundbreaking radical filmmaker. And Jatavia Gary is working on her sort of diptych film, the Giverny diptych, as well.
So they're all here, and each of their projects involves some kind of public interaction while they're here, right?
Absolutely. So Jatavia tomorrow is going to be teaching a youth workshop for our Buffalo Youth Media Institute on handmade film. Dennis Tortum is going to be teaching a virtual reality documentary master class, looking both at techniques as well as investigating aesthetics, because there is this discourse around virtual reality about evoking empathy that I think is very problematic right now. And I think he's going to be investigating that in some fashion as well. Rachel Rakes and Leo Goldsmith will be doing a sort of collaborative seminar on art in the documentary turn, looking into sort of documentary practices that nowadays, when we go to contemporary art galleries like the Albright Knox and so on, are almost, you see them all the time. And Caroline Doherty is going to be this Saturday going to be teaching a class on device performance for camera, and then Leah Bertucci is going to be teaching a field recording at Silo City masterclass, sort of looking into the amazing resonance of Silo City and also techniques and sort of playing with microcassette recorders and so on.
So some great opportunities to learn from these visiting artists. And urge folks to check out squeaky.org is the website? Squeaky.org, or the Facebook page to learn more about those. And then lastly, Ekrem, I just wanted to get some brief thoughts from you about Buffalo's place in digital arts and some unique assets or challenges that we have as a region when it comes to digital arts.
Sure. Buffalo, I think, has a very sort of special place in the history of media arts. Many of this is thanks to the efforts of Gerald O'Grady, who founded the Department of Media Study at the University at Buffalo, as well as created Media Study Buffalo, which was a sort of early media arts venue. He also had similar projects at Rice University in Houston and so on, but through the Department of Media Study and these sort of early institutions, we've had a sort of very sort of steady and solid sort of presence as a place of radical media arts, where individuals who work on themselves and who are deeply invested in the sort of history of the moving image as well as just screen-based art can come and do their work. It's always been sort of seen as both a fortress as well as a home in some respects, and it continues to this day. Squeaky Wheel is, we've been around for 30 years. We started after that other venue, Media Study Buffalo, closed down. Hallwas has always hosted amazing media art. The Albright Knox does some of the most precise and wonderful installs of moving image art that I see in any museum anywhere. So I think this is a really, really great town where we have a lot of folks who are very, very literate and have sort of deep knowledge and appreciation for the kind of work and are very supportive of this kind of work. So I think it's kind of a great time to be doing this sort of thing.
All right, that's good to hear. So urge folks to check out squeaky.org and look at the Facebook page for all the events coming up and all the amazing resources that you offer. Thank you, Ekrem.
Yeah, thank you, PPG.
Everybody over there,
Get on up.